just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need another one. You here, get your number.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Come on.
Because early on you was accused.
They thought this would never surface. But what if the story everyone brushed off is actually just the beginning of something far more complex? Imagine this. Whispers online are getting louder by the day, suggesting that behind a carefully curated image, there may be layers the public was never meant to question. People are saying there could be unseen footage, unexplained connections, and accounts from insiders that don't quite match the narrative we've all been given. But is it really just coincidence that these conversations keep resurfacing at the same time? According to whispers online, some claim that there may be attention from powerful institutions, while others point to statements from individuals who were once close to the situation. People who hinted at things they allegedly witnessed but never fully revealed. Why now? Why are these claims suddenly gaining traction again? And more importantly, why do some feel like certain details have been quietly pushed aside or ignored altogether? Then there's the deeper layer that people are starting to question. It's not just about Lori anymore, it's about the environment around her, the elite circles, the connections, the timing of it all. Some are asking whether those closest to her were truly unaware, or if there were things happening behind closed doors that never reached the public eye. Why are these questions only being asked now, and why do they seem to make so many people uncomfortable? And let's talk about the timeline, because this is where things get even more intriguing. Lori Harvey has been linked to some of the most recognizable names across entertainment, sports, and music. From actors like Michael B. Jordan to musicians and industry insiders to global athletes, her dating history has always been in the spotlight. But now people are re-examining it from a completely different angle. Were these just relationships, or was there a pattern that no one paid attention to at the time? People are saying the overlaps, the quick transitions, the proximity to powerful figures, it all raises questions. And then there are those moments that seem small at the time, like public comments or posts that later disappeared without explanation. Why delete something unless there was a reason? Why do certain details fade away just as quickly as they appear? Even more curious is how long some of these rumors have existed under the surface. Names like Future, Justin Combs, Trey Songz, Lewis Hamilton, Memphis Depay, each connection adding another layer to a story that, on the surface, seemed like nothing more than celebrity dating headlines. But now, people are asking if there was something more calculated behind it all, something the public wasn't meant to fully understand. And here's the part that really makes you think. Why are these conversations gaining momentum now? What changed? Did someone speak up? Did something surface behind the scenes? Or is this just the moment where the public is finally starting to connect dots that were always there? Because if there's one thing people are starting to realize, is this. When multiple stories, timelines, and whispers begin to align, it stops looking like coincidence. It starts to feel like something that was carefully kept out of sight. And the question remains, what else haven't we been told? What are they still keeping hidden? And why does it feel like we're only just scratching the surface of a much bigger story? However, out of all the connections and rumored relationships, the one that truly made people stop and question everything was the alleged link between Lori and Diddy. Think about it. This wasn't just a quiet rumor that faded away.
But I've always wanted to know, what is like the biggest misconception about who Lori Harvey is?
It's so funny because I'm so quiet,
Yeah.
There's been so many stories that have been made up about me. Like I've seen stories about me being like fully in love with somebody and we had like this whole relationship and I'll see the guy and I'm like, I've actually never even met him before.
No.
Like full-blown stories I've heard. I've dated a father. And
They were seen together across multiple major cities, from Italy to Mexico, from New York City to Atlanta, appearing side by side enough times to make people wonder, was this really just coincidence or something more deliberate? And even though both Lori and Diddy publicly denied any romantic involvement, people are still asking, why were they constantly in the same places at the same time under such a spotlight. Then comes the detail that really fueled the whispers online, the connection to both father and son. People couldn't ignore how unusual that narrative sounded, even if it was denied. But is it just internet speculation spiraling out of control, or is there a deeper layer that people feel hasn't been fully explained? Because when stories like this refuse to disappear, it makes you wonder, why do they keep coming back?
And here's where things take an even more intriguing turn. Many began questioning not just the relationship itself.
Talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my in front of all my people at my agency. What am I supposed to do? He did all of that. I'm thinking I'm the only black person on the script. I get there, it's 3 other black guys on there. Woo! Huh.
So you wonder what they did to get there.
I told him no. What y'all do?
But the reaction of those closest to Lori, people are saying, how could her family appear so comfortable around someone with such a controversial reputation and a significant age gap? There are claims that vacations were shared, moments were spent together openly, and everything seemed unusually accepted. But is that the full story, or just what was shown on the surface? According to whispers online, some believe there may have been hidden motives behind that level of comfort. Allegations began circulating, suggesting that there could have been strategic decisions being made behind the scenes, claims that, again, remain unproven but continue to spread. Why do these theories persist? Why do some feel like there's a missing piece no one is addressing? And then there's Katt Williams, a name that keeps resurfacing whenever these conversations heat up. At the beginning of the year, when he spoke out about the entertainment industry, people immediately began connecting dots. He made bold claims about how the industry operates, suggesting that there are inner circles, unspoken agreements, and expectations that outsiders wouldn't fully understand. But what did he really mean? Was he speaking from personal experience, or was he hitting at something much larger? Katt even implied that there are consequences for not going along with certain expectations, that those who refuse may find themselves isolated, while others who play the game seem to rise effortlessly. But is that just his perspective, or is there truth hidden beneath those words? Why are people so divided on whether to believe him? He also mentioned that some individuals are encouraged to stay silent about certain topics. Now think about that. If people are truly being discouraged from speaking, what exactly is it that they don't want getting out, and who benefits from that silence?
Which brings the conversation back to Steve Harvey. People are now revisiting his past actions, his statements, even moments that once seemed insignificant. Why was he so publicly supportive in certain situations? Why did certain comments quietly disappear over time? And perhaps the most unsettling question being asked right now, was everything exactly as it seemed, or was there a side of the story that never made it into the public eye? Because as more pieces start to resurface and old conversations are brought back into focus, people can't help but ask, is this all just a series of coincidences, or is there a deeper network of connections that the public is only now beginning to question? And if so, why are they hiding it? Then things get even more layered when you start looking inside the family itself, because according to whispers online, this wasn't just about public relationships. It may have been creating tension behind closed doors. Imagine this. Sources have hinted at internal disagreements within the Harvey family, with some suggesting that Steve's intense focus on Lori may have caused friction among the other children. But is that just typical family dynamics, or is there something deeper going on that people don't fully understand? One insider even described a situation where the blended family structure was becoming difficult to manage, with different personalities, expectations, and attention all clashing at once. People are saying that Lori in particular seemed to receive a different level of attention, more spotlight, more praise, more visibility. But why her? What made her stand out so much compared to the others? And why did that reportedly create such tension behind the scenes? According to these same whispers, Steve's way of handling these conflicts was unconventional. Some claim he would smooth things over with gifts, money, or simply avoid the situation altogether. But does that really resolve anything, or just keep deeper issues hidden beneath the surface? Because when problems are managed quietly instead of addressed directly, they don't disappear, they just wait.
Some of the more extreme allegations go even further, claiming that Lori's position in the family dynamic may have had strategic value. Again, these are just claims floating around online, but they raise questions people can't seem to ignore. Could there have been calculated decisions about who she was connected to? Was it all just coincidence, or part of something bigger tied to influence and status? And just when the speculation reaches its peak, Steve steps forward publicly, presenting a completely different narrative. In interviews, he speaks about protecting his daughters, carefully evaluating the people they date, and making sure no one with bad intentions gets close. He talks about reading people, watching for the mask to flip, and quietly removing anyone who doesn't meet his standards. On the surface, it sounds like a father being cautious, but people are asking, is that the full story? Because here's what doesn't quite add up for some observers. If that level of scrutiny was always in place, why do certain past connections raise so many eyebrows now? Why are people revisiting those moments and questioning whether that same energy was applied consistently? Was everything handled the way he claims, or is this a case of rewriting the narrative after the fact? People are saying this interview felt like an attempt to reshape public perception, especially as more conversations about Diddy and industry connections began to surface. But is that fair or just speculation fueled by timing? And the biggest question of all, why does it feel like there are still pieces of this story that haven't been fully explained? Because when public statements and online whispers don't quite align, it leaves people wondering, which version is closer to the truth they buried? And why does it seem like every answer only leads to more questions? So now we're left with the questions that no one seems to be answering. Did he really not see the signs, or is there something deeper that people aren't being told? Because according to whispers online, individuals connected to the situation have made some very bold claims, allegations about private content, unseen material, and moments that were never meant to reach the public eye. But here's the thing. Are these just stories being amplified, or is there a reason they keep resurfacing again and again?
And then there's what others have said about the environment surrounding these relationships. Some former insiders have described a world of excess, control, and carefully managed appearances, where everything looks glamorous on the outside, but behind the scenes, things may not be what they seem. People are saying that influence, power, and image play a much bigger role than anyone realizes. But why are these accounts only gaining traction now? And why do they all seem to point in a similar direction? One of the most talked about aspects is the idea that certain patterns existed. Private gatherings, specific aesthetics, recurring details that some believe weren't random at all. According to whispers online, even small details like fashion choices or recurrent looks are now being re-examined by viewers trying to connect the dots. But is this genuine evidence, or are people reading too much into coincidences? And here's where things get even more unsettling for some observers. If even a fraction of these claims were true, what does that say about the people around her? Did they truly have no idea, or were there signs that went unnoticed or ignored? Why do some believe that those closest to the situation should have seen something, while others argue there's no way they could have known? Then there's the resurfacing of old statements and actions, like that deleted tweet people keep bringing up. Why remove something like that unless there was a reason? Was it just timing, or does it hint at a shift in narrative behind the scenes? People are saying this detail alone has raised eyebrows, especially now that everything else is being re-examined. And the biggest question that keeps echoing through all of this, if these rumors and theories have been circulating for years, why are they only now being taken seriously? What changed? Did new information come out, or is the public finally paying closer attention? Because when you step back and look at everything, the connections, the timing, the statements, and the silence, it starts to feel like there's more beneath the surface. But is it all just speculation fueled by the internet, or is there a version of events that hasn't fully come to light yet? And if there is, why are they hiding it? At the end of the day, this entire situation leaves more questions than answers, and maybe that's exactly why people can't stop talking about it. Comment below with what you think about this. Leave a like if this shocked you, or if you want more truth like this. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss future revelations about Hollywood secrets.